Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we talk Chicago Bulls all day. Today I'm going to be discussing Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey will be given a bigger role on the Chicago Bulls. He's also going to get plenty of minutes. So I expect Josh Giddey to outperform what he did on last year's Thunder team. And then this year, he's probably going to double those stats. I'm going to show you why I think that by breaking down his Australian Olympic team with a small sample size of what we can expect from him. And then I'm also going to compare it to Coby White. He will be taking on Coby White's role as the primary ball handler. So given the same opportunity and minutes, how would Josh perform? And then I'm going to talk about Billy Donovan's system. And we're going to break that down and see how Josh actually fits in it. Alright, let's start by looking at Josh Giddey's stats from the Oklahoma City Thunder. On the Oklahoma City Thunder, he averaged about 25.1 minutes per game. During that time, he put up 12.3 points per game, 6.4 rebounds, 4.8 assists, 0.6 steals, 0.6 blocks, 47.5 from the field, 33.7% from the three-point line, which was actually his career high so far. 80.6 free throw percentage and 54.7 true scoring. So when you look at those numbers, they don't look the best. But 25 minutes and average in that is pretty great to me. I think like those stats are really good, efficient while he's on the court. You kind of could expect him to score, rebound, and assist when given minutes. And this is my whole point exactly. Because in 25 minutes, he could score that. For a comparison, if we look at Lonzo Ball in the 21 season, he averaged 13, 6, and 5. And we all love Lonzo. We all praise Lonzo. But he did that in 35 minutes. Giddey only had 25 last year. And Giddey is also only was in his third year in the league. So with another year on his belt, with more minutes, more responsibility, and he also doesn't have DeMar, so he won't get the ball taken out like Lonzo did. He'll have the ball in his hand more often. Him and Coby probably will share the role. Lonzo will be coming off the bench. I think Josh will have a bigger role, bigger opportunity, and have the ball in his hands more with more minutes playing time. So I project his numbers are going to be inflated a lot. So on the Bulls, I think he's going to average somewhere around 21 to 24 points per game. And that really just depends on Zach LaVine. If Zach LaVine's gone, I see the scoring opportunities going up. If Zach LaVine is on the team, I see his assists going up. So 12.8 rebounds per game. Billy Donavan loves his guards to crash the boards. Josh Giddey already does that. He loves his guards to grab and then push the pace. So I think his numbers will be inflated more because of this. So 9.6 assists per game to get that ball up the court. I think with Zach LaVine on the team as well, I think we will get easy buckets because he likes to be pushed out. We saw the way that Lonzo used Zach on the team where he was leaking out all the time and he was getting easy buckets. So I hope Josh Giddey kind of takes the same role if Zach LaVine's still on the team. I think he's going to get about 36 minutes per game. Billy Donovan plays these guards, his lead guards, heavy minutes as we saw with Coby last year. And coming up soon, I'm going to be breaking that down. 44% from the field. I don't think it's going to be the greatest number that he's going to have. I think with the ball in his hands more, he might be forcing up some shots. We kind of saw that during the Olympics. 36.3% from the three-point line. If he could get with Patton and work on his shooting, I think this dude is going to be a star because what he's missing on the offensive side is shooting. So once that shooting comes into play, and he's so young, he's 21 years old, will be 22 when the season starts. But when that shooting comes, he's going to be the real deal, and people are going to have problems guarding him, especially in the man-to-man concepts of defense. Okay, 81.5% from the free throw. I think this is like wishful thinking. I hope he could actually get higher than that by becoming like more like an 85% free throw shooter. I just don't see that happening next year. True scoring, 52.2%. I also think like this number is pretty good for the amount of time he's going to be holding the ball. So that's why I think Josh is going to average next year. Let me show you why. We're going to start by talking about his Olympic time. Josh was given the full authority over the Australian Olympic team, and he did a really good job. That team it's not the best stacked team that was playing. They had Patty Mills, Dante Exum, Ingles, Jack Landale. His talent, it wasn't there compared to what it will be on the Chicago Bulls. He's also 21 years old. He hasn't played on that team before. This was his first Olympics, so he didn't have all the time to build chemistry and have a huge training camp, a bunch of practices. But he did really good, and it was good to see after last year. Last year, he got benched in the playoffs, coming off the bench, kind of like was demoralizing to him, got the ball taken out of his hands, and he did really good with the Olympics, getting that back. It was a small sample size of what the Chicago Bulls are going to see, with the Chicago Bulls having a more talented roster than Australia, having practices, get more games. He's going to build a lot of chemistry. And with Billy Donavan, which will break down his offense later, his system is built around his point guards. Even though we didn't really have it the last couple of years, we will have it with Giddey, which is great. So let's break down this a little bit. Game 1 versus Spain, he put up 17, 8, and 8 in 28 minutes, which is pretty good. And if you watch that game, like, he unlocked that offense for that team. It wasn't like his assist all the time or what, but he organized well. He made some tough passes, and he made that offense flow just how I hoped the Chicago Bulls were, because we were stagnant, and that team in this game was not stagnant at all. They had great ball movement. He did turn over the ball 5 times. That's kind of tough, but like I said, he ran that offense smoothly. I'll take that 5 turnovers, and he had 8 assists, but he probably deserved maybe like 16 of those assists. It was a good game for him. Game 2 was a little bit different, but he did look good as well. 28 minutes again. He scored 19, 6, and 7. He was super aggressive from the 3-point line, 3 from 7. It was what I wanted to see from him, especially after like the playoffs where they were backing off him. So he was firing away. And 3 to 7, we'll take that any day. And he also had tough defenders on him the whole entire game. So that was nice to see from him. Game 3, 28 minutes again. He did 9, 11, and 6 versus Greece. His numbers didn't look so good here. Rebound was great. Assist was good as well. He did have Giannis on him a lot. They were trapping him, getting the ball out of his hands as well. So 1 for 3 from the 3-point line, 4 for 5 from the free throw. So it was nice to see his free throws bounce back. 5 turnovers again. He was forcing a lot of passes in this one. I think those turnovers go away when you have a more talent on the roster. You don't have to actually force a lot of things. Game 4 versus Serbia, which was the game for me, he had a lot of turnovers. We could start with that. 7 turnovers. He forced a lot. But like I said, he makes the offense go and flow, and sometimes he doesn't make the best decision. He'll get trapped by the paint and don't have anybody cutting or moving. So more talent, better game plans, I think will help him out as well. And he also had 4 personal fouls. I love this number. He was more aggressive on defense. It's kind of the Josh Giddey I would like to see. He's a guy that tries hard on the defense because his defense is tough. It's not what we traded him for, or else we would have kept Alex. But if we could get him to put some kind of effort there, it would be great. He did put up 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. He was super aggressive on the offense, and his shots were falling. So it was good to see. So a small sample size, but I think that was good for Josh Giddey. It showed what we could expect, and he looked great. Having this tall of a point guard that has the court vision that he has, and when his shooting comes into play, we're going to be in good shape for the Chicago Bulls. Him next to Coby gets me pretty excited. Coby spotting up. He's a great catch and shoot player, and having Josh deliver him open shots is fantastic. All right, so up next, let's do like a little fun comparison between Coby White and Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey is going to take on Coby White's role from last year. Coby White did a phenomenal job running the point guard. It was his first year being full duties at that spot, and he ended up being the most improved conversation. Came second. I disagree with that one. Tyrese Maxey ended up winning the most improved, but then he was really good the year prior to, so I just don't get why he won that. That being said, Coby White excelled, and Coby White ended up playing heavy minutes, 36 and a half minutes per game. So I went with that to compare Josh Giddey to him. If Josh Giddey was given the same role than Coby had last year, and it might not be that much, but for the exercise, we're going to go with the number. I ended up doing 37 minutes for Josh because they didn't have a half mark. So I did 37 minutes compared to Coby White's 36 and a half. So during that time, Coby White ended up averaging 19.1 points per game, and Josh Giddey ended up doing 18.9. So not much fall off there. It's good to see that comparison because, Giddey's not known as a prolific scorer, and Coby White is good. You get hot, and everyone knows that. So that's pretty good. And then going to the rebounds, this is where it gets exciting for me. 4.5 rebounds for Coby White, which is good for a point guard. But Josh Giddey had 9.6 rebounds. And this is not a small sample size either. This is 28 games played. So when given 37 minutes, in 28 games, he could average 9.6 rebounds per game. We're doing good at that point guard spot. And assists per game, 8.6 for Josh and 5.1 for Coby. They're both respectable. I think Coby's more a score first kind of guard, which is kind of what we want, especially for him going to number 2. But 8.6 assists per game is great. Steals per game, they both don't do the best. Josh has 1 and Coby has 0.7. I would like to see those numbers go up. Blocks per game, same here, 0.2 for Coby. Coby's defense looked great last year, so these numbers are kind of like second guessing that. But he did have a lot more intensity there, and that's kind of what I want to see with Josh as well. Josh ended up having 0.3 blocks per game. I would like that to be more. He's a lot taller than Coby. He has advantage over height pretty much every game. So seeing him only have 0.3 blocks per game is tough. True scoring is pretty much 54.2% for Josh, 57 for Coby. So pretty similar there. Turnovers, Josh does average 1 more turnover per game than Coby, 3.1 to 2.1. Josh also forces some issues sometimes. Maybe he won't have to on this team. We don't have that many shooters, so I can see that number kind of being similar to that. And then the plus or minus, right? So 124 for Josh is great, but he also was on a good team, so I can't look into that number. Coby had negative 35. It wasn't great because the Bulls weren't great, so I'm not digging too much into these numbers. But by looking up the stats for 37 minutes with Josh, and then I looked up all the way from 20 to 40, and each minute that he gets is the more productive he was. So with minutes, he will produce, and not just stats, but he makes the team better, and it's nice to see. Billy Donavan loves his point guards. He runs his offense through the point guards, and he had some good ones throughout his time. You had Russell Westbrook, you had Chris Paul, and you had Dennis Schroeder, Lonzo Ball. They all produced for him, and Coby did last year. So seeing this comparison between Josh and Coby, it gives you kind of hope for next year. I think Josh is going to excel in Billy Donovan's system. And that being said, let's break that down a little bit too. Billy's system is not that complicated. It's pretty similar to a lot of coaches around the league. He's been running it for years. I believe that Billy didn't have the personnel to run the type of offense that he wanted with DeMar. I think he could with Zach, if Zach could take on a role that he doesn't want to. But that being said, Billy's system does work. He just never had the players since Lonzo Ball went down to actually run that system. Billy's system requires pushing the pace so the offense can get into their set and have time to run a full play. That didn't quite happen for the Bulls. They usually walked up the court, which was incredibly frustrating. They didn't really push so much, and they barely crossed half court by 8 seconds. Billy wants to run on misses and makes. He preached that all the time. Ideally, he wanted like a guard to get the rebound and then push. And that didn't happen so much, especially with Drummond on the floor. Drummond was selfish with the rebounds. He just wanted everything, every rebound. He works so hard for the rebounds. It's what he makes his bread and butter on. and can't blame him from that. He didn't get many minutes because he didn't fit Billy's system. Vucevic at least boxes out so the guards could grab, or he taps the ball a lot to the guards. So I thought Vucevic, the one thing you can't complain about with him is the rebound and the fit in that area for Billy. That being said, Billy also kind of went through a lot in the interview, saying that he would like to get into his sets early to allow the play to develop, and the Bulls weren't doing that either. They didn't have time to find the open players, so they kind of went into ISO positions a lot. But Billy wants to run the sets. He wants to run his normal ones that he did in OKC and then in the first year with the Bulls, and also even in Florida. He runs like a set called floppy a lot, horns or elevator screens or doors. He likes these sets, and a lot of his offense is built around ball movement, cuts, having man-to-man coverage is kind of like what he built his offense again. We don't do well against zone, but no one really plays zone anymore. So this does become a strength for Billy if we can actually run it like we did before. The elevator screens, Golden State likes to do it a lot with Steph Curry. It's kind of like where you have two picks where your shooter is going to run through the paint up to the top of the key and shoot from there. And the two picks are going to be by the free throw line or screens. And then the horns, you got two screeners on the side of the ball handler, so the guy with the ball could decide he want to go left or right, and there's some actions out of that. The floppy is what Billy likes to do the most. A lot of the coaches now do this a lot, especially the old ones as well. They kind of preached a lot. DeMar's been in the system with floppy a lot, especially with Coach Pop. And Coach Pop ran the system good with DeMar because he refused to let DeMar dribble the ball out, and Billy didn't. The floppy, it basically is like you got your guy in motion with who had ball handler at the top of the key. So the guy in motion will go baseline, somehow get into the paint, and then he'll have a screen on the right side or left side, depending on which way he wants to go. He'll kind of go back out to the perimeter and get the ball from the point guard, and then he'll have a 2-on-1 matchup or scramble in defense, so he could swing the ball around, or he could just drive back to the paint, and then it'd be an easy kick to the center, or if his defender doesn't bite, then he could just do a little layup. It's a great system. I could break that down more for you guys if you want. But Billy loves that. I don't think Billy had the type of players, like I said before. He has a pick and roll heavy offense, and with DeMar, he liked this, but that was all we did. And it's what modern day basketball is, pick and roll everything. And Billy wants everybody to attack the paint, then kick out for three. Lots of ball movements for side-to-side swings. He likes stagger screens as well. We didn't see too much of that. He likes to use his point guards near the free throw line. So I could see this being a strength for Josh Giddey. So after his sets or whatever you run, you kind of have the point guard usually around the free throw line so that he could receive the ball back. Or if he used the pick at top, then he could come and dissect the defense right there. And Josh Giddey, if they don't help out, he has a mismatch with size. He has a great float game. He usually could shoot over the bigs, let alone the point guards that are guarding him. So with his moves there, and if they do help out, he's a great passer with great court vision, so he'll pass as well. So I think Josh fits in Billy's system perfectly. Everything that Billy wants is what Josh actually does well. So he wants his guards to rebound. Well, Josh is an elite rebounder for his size. For his position. He wants his pace to be increased. Well, Josh runs with pace. He wants his sets to be ran and organized, and Josh does that. Josh is not much more of a creator for himself. He can create for himself, but he always calls plays, and I think that's going to help the Bulls out a lot. I'm really excited for Billy to implement his system with Josh. Josh already knows it as well, coming from OKC. The coach there was under Billy, so they kind of run the similar offensive stuff as well. But so Josh coming in, I think he's going to excel, give him heavy minutes, get in the role he wanted, and the keys to the car. So I'm excited for Josh. I think and I'll end it with this. I think the trade was good with Alex Caruso. A lot of people are saying Alex Caruso should have came with some picks as well. They like Josh, but they thought we should have got some OKC picks, since they got like 5 million of them. I'm cool with it without it. I think the way the AK is building the team is good. You're not going straight like Wendell Carter Jr., Denzel Valentine, Cristiano Felicio. Like, we're actually having players that are proven a little bit. They had some kind of role. They had a bunch of starts, so we're not super raw, but we are young as well. And Alex was getting up there in age. He's limited playing time always. He's always hurt. And nothing against Alex, but like, you want a guy on the court all the time that's reliable. And Alex gave everything in that type of play style. Stacey called him Crash Bandicoot. Like, that type of play style is hard to maintain, especially after 30. Trust me, I know that one. And Giddey is 21 years old, and he had plenty of time to develop. So the trade was a win in my book. I think you guys won't see that right away. But at the end of the year, you'll be like, okay, we won that trade by like a long shot. Well, anyways, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to do another video. I could break down Billy's offensive system for you guys to see in depth. I could do that as well. I'm going to keep doing the players. We'll see who we can do next. Let me know what you guys think.